came up with the name out of a, I think it was a skiing commercial that I saw. They had this big dropping in from the edge thing, and that makes sense. So we called it the Edge right from the beginning.
So 1992, the Edge moved into or opened up in a building that my uncle owned. It was a mechanic shop for a Beaver bus line, so it was a big building that could hold multiple buses.
It's kind of funny too, because in the summertime, like it had like those big garage doors. You know what I mean? And the garage doors, like you could like just open those up, and it was like almost like you were outside like the whole time. And they had a huge vert ramp in there. It was an 11-foot vert ramp that went like actually into the rafters.
I first started going to the Edge Skatepark when it was on Nairn. My mom used to take me there all the time, every single day it was open, possibly. And one thing I remember mainly is that the floor was red and everybody's wheels turned red.
It was just a circus in there. It wasn't that big. Basically had to have traffic cops directing things. Who could go next?
It was the 90s, early 90s. There was not a lot of skateboarders. Like there was kind of just enough skateboarders to fill that room, and every single skateboarder in the city was there.
The Edge was like specifically for people who I think were a little bit different. It's surprising, but there was like this massive community of kids that had nowhere to go. And they did this thing that nobody really understood or for the most part liked. They needed a place to go, and the Edge like just opened this whole community door to this whole group of youth that like for the longest time had nowhere to go.
The Edge is like the dirtiest, dustiest place I've ever been, I think. And it was disgusting when we got the building. There was oil and grime everywhere, and from what I've been told, it's cleaner now than it was when they got it. I don't know if I believe that, but in a different way. It was oily, and there was machines, and they had to fix the floor because there was just damage on the floor. And, the space now has just been shredded wood and grip tape and shoes with dust.
Dead on your boots, working all night, waiting for the bell, watching for the light.
First time I went to the Edge, I think I was about 12 years old. I might have been younger, but I don't want to get the Edge in trouble because I know you have to be over 12 years old, but I think I might have lied the first time I went to the Edge. My whole time skateboarding was always at the Edge. Like the last 15 years I've been going to the Edge all winter, so yeah, it's like my home, you know? I love that place.
I think a lot of skateboarders are drawn here simply because it is one of the only indoor spots to skate in winter, and Manitoba, Winnipeg, with the harsh weather that we have, once the ice hits outside, skating is just almost impossible.
If you're forced to be in the same building like a couple nights a week with every skater in Winnipeg, it's gonna make a tight scene, you know? Everybody knows each other, everybody skates with each other, and I think that definitely contributes to how tight our skate scene is.
I came to the Edge back in the day when it was lining up outside in your parka. I had to tell my mom we have to be there, you know, half an hour to an hour before it opens, because it was nuts back then. So they'd drop me off, and then sometimes the volunteer, the staff would come out look out the door. Okay, you guys come in. You guys won't make it in. So then you have to go hop back in your van and drive home if you weren't there early enough.
Honestly, it was like a home. Like you knew everybody, everybody knew you, and yeah, man, you just went for that reason. Like, you know what I mean? Like, one of my buddies, Chinico, you know, who was actually a director there once, he used to say that like skating was like, it seemed like it was more about community than actually skating.
I really believe in the positivity of skateboarding. It's this big lifestyle choice that takes over so much of your life and can be such a goal to strive for and get better at. And when you have guys around you that are high-fiving and just giving you encouragement to do that, I think it's a really positive thing.
No matter who you are when you enter the doors of this place, I think if you spend a decent amount of time here, you quickly come to realize the kind of community that's available to you in these doors and how significant and meaningful it is.
We're all in this one together.
Here we are, it's time. It's time to get the fixed tattoo. A little bit nervous, but here we go, let's do it. Hello. Bram, how you doing?
Good, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Alright, welcome to the show. Disinfected in here.
Alright, dude.
Tattooed?
What's that?
You start to get tattoos?
I am. I'm a little nervous though, I gotta say. It's new territory for me. I haven't had a reason, honestly. I haven't had like the right reason to do it for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So this is like super meaningful to me. So.
Cool.
Paul was like a guy who had huge vision and a huge passion, and I want to be someone who lives that way. I just thought this is the best way to thank Paul.
All right, Skip Henderson back with you on Skateboarding Today.
Paul Hoffman would have been probably the key. It's kind of cliche to say he's the cornerstone, but it's almost like he is the cornerstone of the whole, what is the Edge today, I think, from what I've seen and where it started. He was the guy that would have set it off in the direction and probably had the biggest vision for it. I remember meeting Paul and he was older than me and his whole life vision was to create this skate park.
He saw it. He totally saw it. He saw a ramp here, he saw how this room could be used, even though it was the smallest thing he'd ever seen. He saw the bowl, he saw the spine, he saw all of it. And the place was covered in oil and grime from being a machine shop, and I think was hazardous to even be in. But he saw it, and I said, well, then that's it. If you can see it, then that's the Edge. That's where it has to be.
Man, the passing of Paul Hoffman to the Edge was a punch in the stomach. It kind of took the air out of everyone, I think.
I remember walking into the place for my interview and seeing this guy behind the counter, sort of middle 30s, thinking to myself, this does not look like the kind of guy that I don't know, just didn't seem to fit. Didn't seem like the kind of guy that I expected would be behind the counter. Expected someone, you know, a young skateboarder guy. But after spending probably 2 minutes with him, you quickly realize that this place was the perfect fit for him more than anybody else.
I think it brought people together. It was what kind of broke down the barriers between a lot of the more gnarly members of the skateboard community and the Edge.
Everything of who he was, his creativity, his construction experience, his graffiti art, his love of kids, his love of skateboarding, and his love of God all came together at the Edge. And I've never seen anybody before or since who's been able to totally live all of who they were in their job or in their calling. Paul was certainly fully alive.
The fix is Paul Hoffman in Christ, and that was his tag. And it's about honoring, you know, a friend and someone who's really close to me, who meant a lot to me, who was my mentor. So Kicks, baby.
The way the guys that work here and the volunteers operate is that we're unified in one purpose, and that's trying to make a great skate park because we love skaters. And we love them because we're Christians, because we love God. We try and make everything that's in a spiritual sense, programming-wise, or you know, a group that would get together, talk about the Bible, or anything like that that's kind of edge-based, we try and make optional. Over the years of trying to make something spiritual available within the Edge programming, there's been mistakes made by myself and a lot of other people where we didn't do things quite right, but there's also been a lot of times where we've, I think, been able to welcome people into that in a way that's healthy and in a way that's inviting for them. What we want to do is love people and share the hope that we have inside of that faith, and if that motivates somebody to check it out, then that's cool. And if not, then that's cool too.
Best part of the Edge is definitely the people. Like, it's seriously been a family, and it's just been awesome to like be able to get together and skate and shred, but just to relax and just unwind. Like, it's a place you get in the door and you just like feel like all the load of the week just off your shoulders, and it's just awesome.
It's a place where skateboarders meet other skateboarders. So in that sense, it's the first place that skateboarding really sprouted from because of the connections that were created here.
It's everything. It's everything, man. It's like the only place where everyone can come together from every group, you know? And like, there's nothing but skateboarding and broing down, so it's like, it's good times.
Well, it's been the part of progression in Winnipeg skateboarding because all winter we have nothing to do, so we sit in here and we slave away and learn new tricks. So we had nowhere else to skate, so it's always been there for us.
My name is Billy Jansen, and I volunteer here on Tuesdays. I started volunteering at the Edge in about 95, 96, I think.
My name is Dan Neufeld. I've been a volunteer for about 9 years now.
Volunteers are the Edge. They are the lifeblood. They are what keeps this place alive.
It's a big crew. It's usually between 30 and 50 plus people that we have volunteering in one season, and they're doing it regularly, weekly, and it's what we need to make this happen.
I have been volunteering for about 16 years. I didn't come here because of skating alone. It was really the people and the community and the feeling of belonging that I think a lot of kids are looking for.
Good to go. We'll save it. 125 Pacific is now closed. Take the good stuff, the memories, the last tricks, the community, the family, the bro down, and take what people like Paul and so many others have tried to live, just loving God, loving your neighbor. Take it with you and don't leave it here, because it can go so much further than here, so much further even than this community of people. Our whole time at Pacific, we were given the building as a donation, but the building was getting in worse and worse condition, and eventually the owner was saying, you know, it's not exactly safe for you guys to use this anymore. Physically, the building is getting to be not safe, and we need to either do a lot of work or tear it down. And the first time I volunteered at the Edge, one of the things we were praying about was like, we need another place that's bigger, because at that point in the late 90s, we were turning away almost as many guys as were coming. We'd let in 50 kids and we'd turn away 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 some nights because it was so busy and the spot just wasn't big enough.
You lift me up, you carry me home tonight.
Would like to think that if Christ was on the earth today, that he would be doing something similar to this too.
Can't stop.